Okay, welcome back. So I'm making a video for people who want to use Tableau, specifically to make line charts or bar charts that are stacked in different colors, easy to understand. So for example, I got this little setup website. Don't need to know much about this, but basically I like to track cumulative dividends received from various ETFs. One example is here's a Coinbase ETF. We got a Tableau dashboard on this website, or I guess not really a dashboard, but a Tableau page. One of the things I track is distributions received per share every month. And I want to go over how you make this chart. And another item is, here's a stacked bar chart. Price, it's basically the price of the ETF, which in this case has gone from 20 down to 8. But I also want to track the cumulative dividends received so you get a total return metric. Don't really need to know about that stuff, but more of how do you create this chart. So overall, I got a couple ETFs here. You saw the one here, but we got this Netflix tab. You can see it's currently empty. So what I want to do is I want to add the presentation here in a similar manner to what I just showed you. So I guess first of all, to start off with, we have the data set. I keep the data set in Dropbox. And then I use Python to pull in Dropbox and basically analyze the data, but enough for that. So here's our data that we're looking at. If I open it, basically it has the date, the open price, the low price, close price, and dividends received every month of this ticker NFLY. But yeah, so let's go over to Tableau Public. I just want to show you how to create this. So I go to my profile. I got all these vizzes, I guess they call them, that I've created over time. But I want to create one for NFLY, so I'll create a viz. And then as far as connecting to the data, you can connect to Excel spreadsheets various ways, but I connect through G Sheets, Google Sheets connector, because it allows you to update the data, and then Tableau Public says it can go in automatically and refresh it. But that's my choice, but you can basically just upload a Excel file. But I'll do mine, go to Google Drive here, go to the account, log in, and for me, I click shared with me, and I want to find that Netflix NFLY file. So we're connecting to that. Then I always click update automatically, and boom, it pulls it in. I will say that file I showed you earlier, that just pulled in the NFLY pricing data. I ran a Python script to create this specific table with these specific columns, just maneuver the data a little bit. But it's basically the same data. It shows you distribution per share, when the distribution was declared, open price, low price, etc. So I want to use this data, and I want to create a sheet. So I click sheet, and then it's basically pulling in the data. Tableau is. I'll just wait for that. Okay, then once we have the sheet, we have our tables here and our various values. So the first thing I want to create is, I'm going to use the X date for the columns. So that basically pulls in the dates. And the first thing I'll create actually is I create a line chart or various line charts to show different outcomes, whether one person took the dividends, just kept them, took the dividends, reinvested them in the stock, or just rather another item is just to reinvest in the underlying stock of the ETF. Don't even know that, but I'm going to show basically here how you create 3 lines in a scatter plot. So you got the measure values, you pull that up into the rows with X date in the columns, and then you select the items that you want to see. So in my case, I don't want to see any of these items, so there's easier ways to do this. I just drag and drop them out. And so I got the non-reinvested dividends options, the own the underlying stock option, and the reinvested dividends option. And when I get those 3 here, this is what you get. If you want to see different colors, pull the measure names into the color parameter. And for me specifically, I don't want to see the bars. I want to see a line plot. And there is the 3 pricing options. You can rename the tab. For me, I just call it compare. And there we go. And then if I create a new sheet, So this one, I just want to see a typical bar chart, distributions per share over time. So I put X date in the columns, distributions per share. There we go. Here's your standard bar chart. And you can rename the sheet as you desire. Go to rename. I just call this distributions per share. Save. Okay, now the third option, this is actually my favorite plot that I use for, I guess, my data analysis. I like to see a stacked bar chart showing the price of the ETF that I bought. And additionally, I want to see the cumulative dividend received over time. I want to see those stacked on each other in order to show a total return. So for that, X date, once again, into the columns, take measured values, put it into the rows. And basically, this is stacking everything you see here. So I don't want to see that. I just want to see two bars. I want to see the closing price, and I want to see the cumulative dividend. Everything else, you can basically pull out or do however you like to do it. This is just how I do it. It's probably not the most efficient way to do this, but it makes sense in my head. It lets me think about things a little bit. And so I pull all those out as such, and there we go. And you kind of see there's a little line here between the stacked bar chart. If I want to see different colors, take measure names, move it into color. Boom, there you go. If you want to change the colors, go to measure names. I believe there's a, there we go. You just click the colors, click edit colors, click close. Let's say instead of this light blue for close, you want it to be orange. And cumulative dividend, let's say you want it to be like a brown. There's brown. Let's go green. A little more contrasting colors. Sign it. And there we go. We just changed the colors accordingly. And so for me, I like to see this is the current price of the ETFs in blue. The cumulative dividend is in orange. It allows me to see how the total return on the investments performed over time. Good visual metric for me as far as the stuff I like to analyze. And then just one more. This is just, or I guess two more that I like to do. You don't have to do these. I think I'm basically covered. But I like to make another line chart stacked or multiple items. Reiterate some of the stuff I've already shown. Once again, I take measured values, put it up there. In this case, I want to see four items. I want to see the closing price. I want to see the cumulative dividend, which is one of the items I've already seen before. I want to add into a distribution per share. And then finally, I want to add in the option of, once I get to it here, the price of the ETF plus the cumulative dividend. I want to see those four options lined up against each other in a line plot. Different colors. So measure names into color. As I said before, and I want the bars, I want the lines. So this should basically shows four options. Shows the closing price of the ETF. It shows how much I've made in cumulative dividends over time. It shows what those distributions have been every month. And finally, if you add the blue line plus the orange line, you get the total return, which is in green there. And then as a final item, I just want to track so this is NFLY. It's an ETF based on the Netflix stock. This ETF basically likes to generate high premiums or high dividends, or in this case, they're probably better called distributions, by selling call options on a synthetic position in the actual Netflix stock. So it's somewhat based on Netflix stocks. I kind of like to compare it to how Netflix is performing. I did that in the first graph. As you can see, owning the underlying stocks in, what is this, an orangish yellowish color. So clearly this has been the better option to invest in. But if I just want to see how the underlying equity price has gone, I can plot it because I pulled it in as a variable in my spreadsheet. It initially gives me a bar chart. If I just want to see that as a line chart, change it to line. And here is basically how the Netflix stock has performed over time. And this should clearly mimic the standard chart that you would probably see on a typical finance website as such. Moving a little slow, but so here's Netflix, $1,156 a share. What do we have here? 11:31. So we might be like a day or so late or a few minutes late with our data. But if you look at it over 5 years, you can see I guess we start in September of 2023. So from September of 2023, looking in this range, it's been up, with a little down, then a jagged up again. Somewhat the same overall pattern. But yeah, so overall, I guess I created the 5 tabs that I was interested in. If you want to make this available to other people to see, you publish. I'll just call it the ticker name, Netflix or NFLY. Show sheets as tabs, publish. I already had one that existed. It was based on old data, created in a different kind of context, so I'm going to overwrite that. You shouldn't see that if you haven't created one before. But yeah, then if you go back to your profile, you should be able to, usually it pops in right here. But since I already had one, I overwrote it. So I got to go find where it overwrote at. So it's right down here. NFLY, just created it. It's got the several tabs I just showed how you can create. But me specifically, I guess where I started this video is I do have a simple website. Here you go. Just a pretty basic Google site. Anybody can create it for free. As you can see from the URL, it's sites.google.com, and then just adding a little bit of context editing as such. But if you want to add it to this page, basically here's the project that I can actually edit. I would go to the Netflix page that I created that is currently blank, and then I would jump back to Tableau Public. They got this little share emblem, and you can copy code, copy the embedded code. So basically just copy that. Go to your site, click insert, and we're looking to embed code. So the embed code option right there, paste in that code you just copied. It pulls it in, insert it. It resize it to basically the size that you want. And you can see this basically just pulls it right from Tableau Public into your website as you desire. Got all the tabs as such. Just by pulling it in, if you actually go to the website, you still can't see it. So in order to see it, you just basically got to republish the website. As such, it basically shows what's currently published in the draft to what would be published. Click publish, and there you go. Now if I go back to my website, it might take a little bit to refresh. Let's see. Let me try going from one page to another, go back to the NFLI. And there you go. Somebody can go to this website, give them the URL, and they can see your various plots and such that you've made. I like to cover the finance topic, but this typical Tableau can be used by anybody to create any sort of line chart or line graph of various measures, bar chart, or we also have the stacked bar chart. Tableau is nice because you just hover over the item and it tells you what the data point is. You click on it. You can see the actual data point if you choose. A lot of interesting things at here. So thanks for tuning in. Hopefully this helped you in your data analytics or data visualization journey.